So let's spend just a couple minutes here to go over security controls. Let's start with a foundation. We'll just use infrastructure as a service. This could be any architecture in an environment. And then we have a specific need. So remember, an ATO control is built upon the service that needs to happen. So for example, this specialized application, ABC, maybe it's a database or some sort of application, but it is going to define the security level that's required in order to get your ATO. Remember, it's going to be the application and the infrastructure. And so what is that security level that you have? Well, let's say we start here with a FISMA moderate environment, or maybe a FedRAMP moderate environment. That means we have the controls built for that infrastructure as a service. But we discover that our application actually requires a higher level, which is FISMA high. So let's look at how we actually do that. So the easiest way to do that is to build another instance. So you could upgrade your existing instance, although if you do not have a burning need for a lot of FISMA high, I would suggest you isolate this in a FISMA high environment, because the management requirements versus moderate to high are pretty steep. So you want to isolate your high loads and charge a premium if you're a vendor to do that. So in this example, we're building another cloud represented there on the right hand of the screen, and we're taking and building out these controls. So these are the controls that we have that are standard to FISMA moderate or FedRAMP. Remember, these are standard controls that work over multiple ATOs. So we're going to go ahead. Now, they're never 100%. You always have to make some modifications to adjust to the environment and the application you're using. But let's just go ahead and inherit these controls here. Get us started on the path. So we're not starting from ground zero. So we're going to inherit those into this new architecture that we're building. And then we're going to have to address these new controls. So remember, the controls are not based specifically on a location, for example, although the physical environment, the PE controls, do impact your ability to get FISMA high, for example. But they're all types of controls. So we have to build on these additional FISMA high controls. Then we add those with the inherited controls to give us now, in this example, infrastructure service, could be any reference architecture, to give us a FISMA high instance of that application. So then we load the application on, and we get the security boundary built on everything represented in the right, the inherited controls, as well as the new FISMA high controls and the application that we load. So let's review here. We start with FedRAMP controls, for example, or a set of security controls. We then discover that we have to build specific controls for this application. So this means that either we take the inherited controls and we modify them, or we build a new set of controls. It doesn't matter. So let's just start first with inheriting. So we're going to inherit the controls from our FISMA moderate or FedRAMP environment. So we're going to inherit those. And remember that this is going to represent, 80 to 95% of your environment, of your controls that you're going to need to write. Then we're going to sit and write some additional controls. And these additional controls will meet specific requirements of the application or the service that you're providing, as well as whatever FISMA high requires. Remember, we have to modify those controls that we inherited right to the left, the blue, green, and blue. We have to inherit those and modify those. And then these become our FISMA high controls. So everything, by the way, becomes FISMA high. It's not just a specific control. The entire environment, just the security boundary for the ATO becomes FISMA high. And this will then enable us to get FISMA, high, moderate, DICAP, ICD, anything you need.